Ooh. So I was minding my own business, watching very old TikTok videos on my old Mac laptop. And my computer decided to completely freeze because keep in mind, this computer is, it's like 10 years old and she's slow. Don't mind my bangs. I did cut them too short. I do kind of look like Will Byers. It is just what it is. And I'm talking season 1 Will. Like if my hair is like this and it's like pulled down a little, it's giving Will. But I wanted to hop on here real quick. Also, don't mind the Mr. Pibb in the background. I am also trying not to drink soda and pop. So be proud of me. Anyways, ouch. I wanted to hop on here really quick and talk about this show that I'm watching because I'm pissed off. Also, don't mind the fact that my closet is open. I'm just gonna hide it like that. Okay, so let's talk. Let's chat because I have no one to talk about. I have no one to talk about. What? I have no one to talk to about this show. Okay. Because all the people that are watching this show are random strangers online. No one in my like immediate circle is watching this show. So I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm pissed off because it's so stupid. So I feel like I made a YouTube video probably talking about this show like once or twice. Like I know I've mentioned it. I don't really remember the last thing that I said about it aside from, oh, no. I made an entire ranting video talking about it because I was so annoyed at the plot. It is annoying. And at its core, this plot is annoying. And an issue that I've seen happen with K-dramas recently, specifically romantic comedies, they are bad. I don't know what it is. I haven't really seen a romantic comedy, like K-drama, that I've liked recently that much, or if I liked parts of it, other parts I couldn't stand. And that's kind of how this one's going. It's like, it took the couple literally so long to get together. It took her so long to tell him that she lied and that she wasn't actually married and that she lied because she needed this job and it's the whole shtick, whatever. Finally, he finds out. Finally, they decide to be together. I know it took so long. My hair looks so bad right now. It's actually kind of distracting me, so give me a second. You're about to see my strawberry shortcake pants. So, get excited about that. Also, while I'm up, I'm just going to shut my closet door. It's bothering me. I kind of cleaned my room, so you should actually be very proud of me. Okay, I got this hat for $1 at Menards. I'm living large. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so they're finally together. We have waited so long. It's been so much back and forth. The second male lead has been one of the banes of my existence of the show. One of the most annoying characters I've maybe ever seen in a show. That's not true. He was not that annoying. I just didn't like him. And I didn't think the second female lead, I don't think they should be together because I thought she was way better than him. But she was also low-key kind of a red flag. So everyone's kind of a red flag on this show. Let's just be honest with ourselves. And so finally, it's like episode 10, 11. And they're together and they're happy and it's like, oh, yay. And then there's this big scandal at the company that they work at. And then our main female lead is comes under fire and it's like, oh no, what's going to happen? Because she gets accused of doing something that she didn't do. It was a whole thing. And then the end of that episode, because that's episode 12 now that I was on. That's the most recent episode is she overcomes this scandal thing. And then I think I stopped watching it and then I was on Instagram and I saw a clip of the end of what I presumed was the end of episode 12, and it was. And it's another big dramatic thing that happens. And then I watched the preview for the next episode. So keep in mind there's 14 episodes of this show and that was the end of episode 12. So episode 13 and then 14 is the last episode. So in episode 13, the show decided to do the brilliant K-drama trope of our couple really has no reason to break up at all, except for some reason we feel the need to have them break up. So that's what happens. The characters, and here's the thing, I will say this. K-drama previews for next episodes can be very deceiving. They can edit it weird. They can make it look like it's going to be a certain thing and whatever, and then it ends up not being anything. But because of this show and because it's been such an annoying show from pretty much the beginning, it would not shock me if they actually do break up because it's this whole thing of she gets accused of doing of like bribing their competitors or like messaging their competitors or something stupid like that. Like, obviously she's set up. It's all set up. She gets accused of that. And then her, like, the male love interest, who's her boyfriend, but obviously it's under wraps that they're a couple, because people still think she's married. That's a whole nother part of her, like, a scandal. They really just said bop, 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 bop. They hit her with like 3 different scandals all in like 2 episodes, which I was like, okay, relax. It was like all the reveals happened at once. But then her boyfriend comes under fire, so then she's like, oh, we can't be together, we're too different. Oh, I'm ruining your life, blah, blah, blah. You're ruining my life, blah, blah, blah. Which I'm like, I don't know if that was taken out of context or if she actually said that, which is wild if she said that, because I don't think anything he's done has, like, hurt her directly at all. In fact, she's the one that's gotten herself into these situations. And I'm about to say it. Here's the real problem. The female lead is really annoying, and I really liked the act. I didn't necessarily dislike her character, especially not in the beginning. I feel like as the show went on, I started to just get annoyed with the way that they wrote her. They wrote her very weak female lead, needs to be saved all the time. It's kind of pathetic. It's really annoying. And it's like, again, I like the actress. I have seen her act. I know she's a good actress. I know she can deliver. So it's not her fault. I know it was just the way the character was written. And unfortunately, the trope, they just wrote her really annoyingly. Like, she's just annoying. And honestly, the second female lead's really annoying. The second male lead's also really annoying. The main male lead is fine, but he's also, like, kind of problematic in his own light, you know, in his own way too. And I think at the core of this show is everyone is, like I said, a red flag and problematic. Everyone has, like, not very great traits that are just kind of brushed aside and not acknowledged, like, hey, this is, like, low-key kind of toxic. And it's weird. And I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think a one-off random romantic comedy show should have so much toxicity. Like, maybe I'm the crazy one and I'm the one who's, like, bringing up crazy facts, but I just don't really think that a show that's supposed to be fun and lighthearted needs to be so dramatic. And I've made this comment before. It's literally not even a joke or an exaggeration, because unfortunately this has happened so many times, but it's the random romantic comedies with a freaking murder. Like, it's like, why is someone getting murdered in my romantic comedy K-drama? Like, what? Or the characters have, like, copious amounts of trauma and issues that they have to work through, and it's like, this is not the genre that you were, like, that I was promised. Like, why? The only show that I would say that runs sort of like a romantic comedy, but also more just kind of like a slice of life, is Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. And they have a lot of trauma, specifically the main male lead. But the thing is, you don't find out about his trauma until, like, maybe episode 12, maybe episode 13. So I think that show does it well, in which most of the show is pretty upbeat. Most of the show is like cute and sweet and, like, romantic and funny, without it being, like, weighed down by so much trauma. A bad example, or actually in this case, a good example of romantic comedy being absolutely bogged down by the character's trauma, is Love Next Door. It's a perfect example of it. I could not have written that show, like, more annoyingly if I, like, not me specifically, because if it was me, I wouldn't have written it like that. I mean, like, the writers, that's what I meant. The writers couldn't have written it worse if they tried. I have never been so annoyed by a show. That one is, like, it's pretty top tier annoyance, and which is super frustrating, because the main characters had really good chemistry. They were very cute together. I really liked the male lead. I really liked him as the, like, romantic lead of this show. And I like the female lead. I was down for their chemistry. I was here for it. I have never been so annoyed at a mother character or just the parents in a show. There's been a few shows. There's a handful of shows that have created the worst parents that I've ever seen in a show. And I was, like, honestly shocked every week at how terrible they were. And I was like, and I'm supposed to sit here and think and, like, what am I trying to say? I'm supposed to sit and watch this show, and then when they get a small redemption, which doesn't make sense logically, and their kids should cut them off, truly, I'm just supposed to be like, oh my gosh, yay, oh, family is all that matters. No, your family sucks. Your parents are terrible people and they hate each other. And I'm just supposed to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, couple goals. No, they suck and they need to either get divorced or they need a lot of counseling. And I've touched on this so many times with my shows where I've talked about specifically, I don't know what it is, but specifically the terrible K-drama mother. And I have watched too many shows where the mom is not supposed to be a bad character. She's not even really supposed to be really an antagonist, but she's one of the most like hateful, just whiny, annoying characters that I've seen. And I've seen it in Love Next Door. Hated the mom. One of the worst written characters written in a way I've like, I mean, like, the actress was fine. She did a good job acting, but like her character was just awful. And another show that I also really didn't like the mom, but I really disliked the male lead's dad more was Welcome to Samdalri. Welcome to Samdalri. I don't know how to say it. Anyways. I don't know, Graham. It's literally in English. I have yet to hate a character as much as I hated the dad in that show. Oh man, I can't even get into that one. I couldn't stand him. Holy cow, he sucked. Oh my gosh, he was so terrible. And I didn't really like the female lead's mom in that show either. She was less annoying, but she was still pretty annoying. And again, I've gone on whole rants about that, shows or whatever. I will say, and the one thing about this one show that I was originally complaining about, it's called Dynamite Kiss. The parents in that show, obviously except for the male lead's dad, because he's supposed to be bad. The parents were actually pretty good parents. Like, I actually was rooting for both of the moms in the show, and I was like, okay, they're actually good parent representation. It's hard to find. It really is, though. It, like, genuinely is hard to find in K-dramas, like, the parents not being, like, a source of the trauma. But I think at the end of the day, you can write a lighthearted show that has traumatic things or like dramatic, sad, melodrama moments. Like you can do that. It's totally possible. I think what the issue that I have with it is that it's becoming a lot more prevalent and it's not written well. And I think that that's the main issue. And I wish, I don't know if it just has to do with like Korean culture, like with parents and like elders and just like the respect level that's there, but I really wish in these shows that the kids, like the main characters, would cut their parents off more in the show. Like I wish we could see it being like the character being like, I forgive you, but I'm not going to reconcile with you. I'm not gonna just let you be in my life and be like, yeah, this is totally fine, like you didn't traumatize me for the last 20 years. That's the thing, is I wish more characters they would write the character to be like, I forgive you, we are not going to be in contact. Like, I'm not doing this. Because that's realistic. Because sometimes you have to cut people out of your life and you just have to move on. And it's like, that's healthy and good. And that's why it bothers me so much when you watch a show where it's like the character has been mistreated by their parent that entire time. And the thing is, the whole time the show's running, we also know that their past is supposed to be like terrible with their parent. And then their parent says like, sorry one time. And I'm like, and then they're like, oh, we're good. And I'm like, so what about the trauma that you've caused your child for the last 20 years? You're just going to pretend like that didn't happen? It's like one of my biggest pet peeves in shows in general is where a character gets a redemption arc and you're like, okay, you didn't even deserve it. Or if you're going to do a redemption arc, have it be a slow build of a slow redemption. It doesn't have to happen all in one moment. Like, build the character. Like, a really good example of a character redemption, and this might... This might make everything I've just said seem very hypocritical because this character has done pretty terrible things, but is Rafe in Outer Banks. Very random, not a K-drama, a Netflix show though. I think that I just have a soft spot in my heart for Rafe. I know he's a horrible person. But the thing is, he had character development and got better. He still did horrible things and like low-key should be in jail. Here's the thing though. I'm not watching Outer Banks for the morality characters. Like, they're all horrible people. They should all be in jail. And that is the general Like, that is, like, a general acknowledgement of that show, is, like, everyone's pretty terrible. I think the only person who, like, isn't, like, as terrible is maybe Sarah. And that's probably it. And she's done many illegal things as well. So she probably should be in jail too. But again, Sarah is pretty unproblematic and, like, not that annoying when it comes to characters. Key, on the other hand, let's have a character study analysis done on that character, because I have yet to see a character more annoying than her. She is so irritating, it's ridiculous. And let's just say I don't watch Outer Banks for Key. I watch Outer Banks for Rafe, and maybe for Sarah, and when JJ was alive for JJ. Pope is fine as well. I just hate Key. Key and Topper, couldn't care less. But anyways. And Ward, oh my gosh. And Rose, shut up! I was trying to do a thumbs down. That looked really weird. I'm sorry. But anyways, so yeah, that's where I'm kind of sitting with this show. I've given up. I'm not going to finish it. I'm like, I just don't care. I might skip through just to see, like, how it ends, because I'm mildly curious. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I just don't like it. And I feel like this has happened recently, and I feel like I've probably talked about it, of, like, when I first started watching K-dramas, I mean, you know, and the entire world of K-dramas was opened up to me, because obviously I had never watched any of these shows, so I had never seen anything, so everything was new. And there's just quite a few K-dramas that I just won't ever watch, because, well, whatever the reason being, because it's, like, either because I don't like the content, or I know for a fact that it has a really annoying plot, or, you know, whatever it is. And the thing is, a lot of old K-dramas I've tried to watch and I couldn't get into, because a lot of old K-dramas did the very tropey tropes that they all do, where they finally get together in episode, like, 8, and then they break up by episode, like, 10, and then they're back together by episode, like, 14. And that's a pretty typical K-drama episode timeline, and those are frustrating to watch, let me tell you, because you're like, why are you breaking up? There's literally no reason. Like, there's so many famous K-dramas that I've tried to watch, couldn't get into. What's Wrong with Secretary Kim? I've tried to watch that show a handful of times, could never just commit to it. Every time I tried, I was just like, I don't care though. I was like, when do they kiss? I want to watch that. Because that has two actors that I like. That has, the main lead is, like, Park Seo-joon. He's one of my favorite Korean actors. I've tried to watch, it took me a while to get into Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo, but I finally finished that one, and oh my gosh, so freaking worth it. Oh, I finally decided to watch, another Park Seo-joon show. I always forget the name, whatever, it's from, like, 2000, I don't know, like, 17. It has a weird name. Fight for My Way. There it is. I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. I got to, like, episode, I don't even know, like 11 maybe, or 12 maybe. And then I had taken a break because I was watching other stuff, and I was kind of at a boring part, low-key, and I was like, I'll finish it. I go to try to finish it, and it says, this show is not available in your country. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this has been on the streaming service I use, Viki, for, like, 8 years, and then the time that I finally decide to commit to it, I was like 4 or 5 episodes away from being done. It's like, oh yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, okay, what the freak? So that was really upsetting. But that's an old K-drama that took me a long time to start, because I had seen so many clips, but I had just never sat and watched it, and then I finally did. But yeah, there's a lot of other K-dramas that I've never watched, and I probably won't ever watch. I've tried to watch certain, like, classic old ones, and I'm just like, I can't get into it. I have tried to watch Crash Landing on You so many times. I can't get into it. It's too long. It's like an hour and 20 minutes every single freaking episode. And I'm like, it's so cute because the couple dated in real life and then they got married and now they have a child together. It's precious. I love that for them. I can't get into their show, and I've tried. Another show that took me a really long time to watch was Vincenzo, but I did finish that one, and holy Toledo. Great show. 10 out of 10, not overhyped. So good. So good. That one took me like 3 times to get into, though. I had to start, like, I think it was my third time trying to watch it. I finally was like, okay, I'm going to commit to this show. Because that one was another one where it was like a 16, or no, it was 20. Might have been, no. No, I think it's 16. Or was it 20? It was a long show. And the episodes were really long. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to do this. Oh, girl, I binged that show. I watched it very quickly. Like, it was so good. What's in there? Oh, Reply 1994 is, I think, the one. There's a couple versions of it. I think that's the one that I watched. That one also took me years to watch because that show came out in like 2016, I think. No, that one came out in 2020, which is still at this point like 6 years ago almost. And that one took me so long to watch because, again, 20 episodes, an hour and 15 to an hour and 20 minutes every episode. Yeah. Again, very good. I liked it a lot, but yeah, it took me freaking forever. I tried to watch this one show. This is such a random tangent. I did try to watch this one show called, what is it called? Something like That's It, It's Love, or like it has like a weird title. That one was weird because there was a lot of famous actors in that, and the male lead I really liked in that show. I'd never really seen him in a K-drama, so I was like, oh, I want to watch him in this. Like, I'd seen him in like one show. And so I was like, it's like an old like 2016 drama. I was like, oh, I want to watch this. So I was like, I was committed to it. I sat down, I started it, and then I just kind of couldn't get into it. I was just like, I just don't care enough. And okay, this is such a side part, but this was something I couldn't quite like be okay with. There was a character in the show who, I don't remember how old he was supposed to be, but he was definitely older than his like female love interest, and she was supposed to be in like high school, I'm pretty sure, and he was definitely older than her, and I think it was a little bit of a concerning age gap. And I will say one thing about the whole like high school in Korea is they're typically in high school until they're like 18. So it's not necessarily like, oh, she's 16 and he's 21, but it's like, okay, well, if she's 18 and he's 21, yeah, that's only a couple of years, but it's like, that just doesn't quite, that age gap just feels like a little too, like, so, because I think technically in Korea, you're an adult when you're 20, 19 or 20, and then obviously they're in college, like, you know, in their 20s. Anyways, random fact. But it was weird. And I was like, it just felt a little weird. And then the other part was, there was one of my like favorite idols and also actors, Kyunsu, was in that show. Turns out he was like a figment of the guy's imagination. Like, he had imagined him because the show centered around mental health, and that character, the main male lead, like, you don't realize until you see certain scenes that he's like he's not, that guy's not actually there. It was something, I think it had something to do with trauma or something had happened. I don't remember what the reasoning why he saw this random guy. But that guy was Kyunsu, and so he wasn't like actually technically in the show, and so then that made my desire to watch it go way down, because I was like, oh, my baby's not in this show, and he was so cute. Ooh. Anyways, and so he wasn't really like in the show, and then I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't care. And then I dropped it. I also don't think I was a big fan of the female lead. I was like not a huge fan of her character, so I was like, I don't like, there's nothing about this that's keeping me engaged. But yeah, I don't know. I have really tried to like get into K-dramas that were like really everyone was talking about. Like, there was this one like a couple years ago that was like it was a very interesting show. It was very like slice of life, but also like low-key depressing. It was like about these like 3 siblings, and it was just kind of like their lives and like how much their lives kind of sucked. It's kind of a weird, sorry, my foot is like so itchy. Kind of a weird plot, but everyone was talking about it because there was this like one specific line where she says this thing to the male lead that was like, oh my gosh. And then those characters, they take like 45 years to kiss. And I'm pretty sure when they actually do finally kiss, it's like one of those scenes where you can't really see it. And I was like, you put these two gorgeous characters, like actors together, and then I don't even get to see them kiss? What are you doing? Why do you think I'm watching this? I'm watching it to see hot people make out with each other. Like, and if you're not going to give that to me, I don't want it. I will always, sometimes there's shows where characters don't kiss, or like you don't see it, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, finally a show where it's like, and I'm like, shut up. I just spent 12 hours watching this show, and you're gonna not give me a good kiss? What? That is a big pet peeve of mine. It's like a show where the characters don't kiss. There's this Chinese actress who like allegedly does not kiss her male counterparts. Which in a certain sense, I'm like, okay, kind of slay for you, but it's also like at the same time, low key, I don't think you should be in romantic shows then. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I guess I kind of get it, but then at the same time, I'm like, girl, well, don't do romantic comedies or romance shows and then not, like, do that? I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Oh! Okay, this is the last thing I want to talk about. I posted a video on my Instagram about this last night because I was thinking about it, and I was like, I don't have anyone to talk to about this, but I have to talk about this because it's so weird. And I keep seeing clips for this show, and I keep going, ooh. Okay, so there's this show, this Chinese drama that's been, like, highly, like, everyone's talking about it. They were all waiting for it to come out, whatever. I cannot stand the actress that is in that show. I don't like her. She just grosses me out. She talks... Her voice is so high. It's so weird. She acts like a baby. Lots of egg yolk. Not a fan. I don't like it. It's weird. I've seen clips of her in shows, and I was like, this is weird. This is playing to a very specific fetish. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to say it. I just, maybe she's like this in real life. God help us if she is, because that's weird. You're like 30 years old. Freaking grow up. But obviously she can't help the way she sounds, but like she can help the way she acts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I think that's a whole separate thing that I think is really weird and really gross, and I want to talk about it. Anyways, but it's about this character. So the female lead and the male lead, okay, grew up as siblings. And then when she was 9 years old and he was, they have an age gap. I can't remember how much it is. Whatever. When she was like 9, his dad, because their parents, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if they thought they were siblings the whole time, or if they knew that their parents had met and they grew up as like step siblings, or if they thought they were like full siblings. I don't recall what the synopsis said, but basically, when she's 9, him like her brother and the dad leave because their parents got divorced. They leave to go to Thailand, and then she finds him 10 years later. So now she's like 19. And I also saw, this is a side thing about her acting like a child, but I saw someone be like, her acting's so weird. And then they're like, she's playing a naive 19-year-old. I'm like, no, she's just a weirdo. I'm just saying it. And maybe she's been in shows where she didn't act childish, but I feel like I've seen clips of this show where I was like, I am so deeply uncomfortable because there is a very specific niche that they are playing on that I feel like we need to be talking about. So I'm going to talk about it. Anyways, so they meet again and she goes to find him. And then they fall in love. So, I mean, that's a whole thing. And supposedly their whole, like, excuse for this not being a weird relationship is that he was adopted. So I don't really know how it works. If like the parents got married and then they adopted him and then they had her, or if like there's no relation between them. They're not related by blood. They're not even technically related by marriage anymore because their parents got a divorce and he was adopted to begin with. So it's like there's nuance, right? They're not related, but it doesn't matter in my opinion. If at any point in a show, I'm watching a show and a character is at any point ever thought of this other person as their sibling, I'm out immediately if there's a romantic connection. It's weird. And especially with this show, it's weird because, again, she's playing on this weird, like, naive, like, almost childlike vibe. And then he's her older brother, but not really. But now they're making out. And I'm just like, is anyone else think this is weird. It's the like step-sibling trope that's just so weird and like so gross and so disturbing. And I'm like, why in any world do we ever need to take two characters who at any point thought of each other as siblings and be like, we should make them kiss? It's weird. Like, a good example of people that shipped characters was in Supernatural with Dean and Sam, because they're supposed to be full brothers in that show. Like, they're just brothers, and people shipped them. Now, listen, I get shipping Jensen and Jared. I don't even think that's that weird. What I think is weird is shipping two characters, fictional characters, who are supposed to be blood-related brothers. That's sick and twisted, and you're freaks, and you need to get your brain checked. Okay? Like, I'm not crazy for thinking it's gross. And so with this Chinese drama, I keep seeing clips of them, and I see them, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. Like, I don't care that they're not related. I don't care that they found out they're not related. It's still weird, because at a certain point, you still consider that person your sibling. And now you're like, oh my gosh, let's kiss. And again, I haven't seen the show, so maybe they explain it away. Maybe it's not weird. Maybe it's like really not that serious. Maybe they really haven't considered each other's siblings. I've seen some people, I saw a comment too where someone said that he never called her parents his parents. Like, he said, like, your mom, your dad. But it's still weird. And actually, oh my gosh, I just realized I did watch a show that low-key had that vibe. I will say, though, I had to justify it so many times to watch that show, and it was still weird even at the end after I justified it. That one was weird too, because I just totally forgot about that one. Yeah, that was weird. It was weird. Okay, so basically the other show that I watched that had like a low-key adopted sibling, but this one was a little weirder. So it was two men. Okay, so two men. One was married, he had a kid. And then the other one was married, he was widowed, or he was a widower with his daughter, okay? And then there's a third kid that's in the middle, okay? He had a single mom, okay? This guy adopted this kid, okay? So then the little boy and the little girl grew up as siblings, okay? This guy became friends with this guy. The dads became friends, and they raised the three of their kids together, okay, as siblings. This guy's kid had a thing for the daughter. He never viewed her really as his sister, or at the very least, if he did when he was a kid, it was like a child, kid like. But then as I think as he got older, he like started to like view her, as a pretty girl, and he like liked her, whatever. It's like his friend, his best friend, rather than like his sister. She always kind of viewed him as her brother. Like, that was how she saw it. And especially because there's a bit of an age gap. He was a little bit older than her. Okay. Eventually, we get past the, you're my sibling, you're not my sibling, because they're not related. Not even a little. They're not even remote. There's no they have zero relation, like blood related. Eventually, they do become a couple and get together, and it's cute. I think that this show did it well because there's time and separation between them. So it's when they're really little, they're like kind of like siblings. Then they get a little bit older, and then they're in high school. She's in high school because, again, the two boys are a little bit older than her. And then one of them leaves. I think he goes to college, and then he comes back. And so there's a time jump, and they're older. They're like adults now. And I think that the time jump is what helped heal any type of weird, like, we're siblings vibes. Because she was mad at him because he left, and then that was like some of their tension that they had to like work through, and then they end up being together. But I really feel like because he left, because he never really viewed her as his sibling, because he never called like the other guy dad. It was like he had his dad, and that was his dad. Like his dad was his dad, right? He didn't think of the other guy as his dad as well, or like call him like any type of like uncle or anything like that. I think he called him ajushi, which is like older man. So anyways, there was never any crossover for how he felt about that side of the family, if you will. So I think in that way it wasn't weird, but it was definitely weird at the beginning when the characters were younger and when they were in high school. It felt weird. Once they were adults and they had like hadn't seen each other for like 10 years, I think it was, there was a lot of time separation, and then it felt like not as weird because also now he's an adult and then he was whatever. They're both adults, whatever. But that's like one of the only exceptions to that like kind of faux like sibling thing that's like low-key super weird to me in almost every context. And like I said, I had to justify it so many times and like make sure that there wasn't any like lingering weird siblingness, that now it's like romantic, and it was like so weird. But I think that show did it in the only way that you can possibly do that type of trope without it being like disturbing. Whereas this Chinese drama, I feel like, is doing it in a really weird way. But again, I haven't watched it, so maybe I'll watch it. After all that, I talk about how awful it is. You're a sick freak. Well, I should watch it. But I just think at the end of the day, I just think that, like I said, it's just that like side thought of like, this character at one point thought of you as her brother, and now she wants to make out with you. I don't know, man. It's just a little bit weird. It's just a little bit weird. Okay, I think that's all I have to say. I didn't expect to talk for almost 40 minutes, but I had a lot of things on my mind. And also, after, so I said my computer froze. It's still frozen. It's still frozen. She's spinning. I don't know why what I was doing. I was literally just watching my saved like TikTok videos. I don't know why that's the thing that like broke my computer. Like I said, she's old, so I don't know. She's probably like, oh my gosh, it's almost 10. It's not 10 o'clock. It's almost 9 o'clock. I need to go take a shower because I have to go to work tomorrow. I got it when I was in college. So no, I got it when I was at like Northwestern, when I was like 17. I'm like 27. So yeah, that was about 10 years ago. That's crazy. I can't believe I'm closer to 30 than my like early 20s. I can't think about that. Okay, anyways, that's all I have to say. Okay, bye. Okay, anyways.